the elite world of luxury hotels, Elena exists as a ghost. For 3 years, she's cleaned rooms while guests treat her like furniture, invisible, silent, insignificant, until she found that old radio in the retired general's room and took it home. 24 hours later, when the general returned to the hotel in panic, what he discovered would freeze him in place. That ordinary cleaning lady was actually the only person who could decode NATO's most classified frequencies. Welcome to Human Stories. Before we begin this powerful tale, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today, and if you believe stories like this deserve to be told, hit that subscribe button. Elena Martinez worked silently on the 15th floor of the Grand Plaza Hotel. At 45, her dark hair was always pulled back in a messy bun, her uniform clean but faded. For 3 years, she'd been cleaning rooms at one of Manhattan's most luxurious hotels, and nobody ever noticed her existence. She started work at 6:30 a.m., finished at 6 p.m. Same routine every day. Guests wouldn't look at her in elevators. She was invisible in hallways. She was like furniture when cleaning rooms. For Elena, this invisibility had become natural. It was like armor. Manager Peterson, a man in his 50s, always in suits, constantly stressed, treated Elena coldly and distantly. "Hurry up, Elena. Guests are waiting. Clean that room again, it's not good enough. You're too slow, the other girls work twice as fast." These words were part of the daily routine. The front desk staff never greeted Elena. Sarah and Jennifer, both in their 20s, beautiful and conceited, would giggle and whisper when Elena passed by. "Poor woman, I wish she'd take better care of herself." These comments reached Elena's ears, but she never reacted. For the guests, Elena barely existed. While she cleaned their rooms, they'd continue conversations, carry on phone calls, act as if no one was there. Business meetings, private chats, secret deals. Elena witnessed it all, but nobody thought she was listening. That morning, she'd started her shift early as usual. The 15th floor was where elite guests stayed. CEOs, diplomats, retired generals, all people with money and power. Elena would watch them while cleaning, noting their behaviors. It was a habit she'd developed over the years. When she entered room 1547, everything looked normal. Bed unmade, towels on the floor, shaving cream dried in the sink, expensive cologne bottles in the bathroom, scattered papers on the desk. Typical businessman or retired military official's room. Elena began cleaning. First, she made the bed, then cleaned the bathroom. While collecting trash, something on the nightstand caught her attention. An old radio sat there, military style, brown painted, antique looking. She picked up the radio. It was heavy, metal body cold to the touch. No brand name anywhere, just a few buttons and a frequency display. It was old but made from quality materials. There was a small label underneath, but the writing was faded. "What's this?" Elena murmured. In 3 years working at this hotel, she'd seen dozens of items guests forgot. Glasses, chargers, perfume, books. But this radio was different. Not just an ordinary antique, something more special. A thought crossed Elena's mind. This radio might be valuable. She had an elderly mother at home. Diabetes medications were expensive. Maybe she could sell this radio and make some money. Besides, no one ever came back. In 3 years of working here, no guest had ever returned for forgotten items. She put the radio in her bag and continued cleaning. But she kept thinking, why was this radio so heavy? Why were there no brand markings? And why did it look so high quality? Elena's home in the Bronx was small but clean. 2 rooms, one where her elderly mother Maria lived. 73 years old, diabetic, constantly needing medication. Elena cared for her mother alone, spending most of her salary on medicines. "Mia, how was work today?" her mother asked with a Spanish accent. "Good, Mama. I brought you something." Elena pulled the radio from her bag. "Look, an antique radio I found at the hotel. Maybe you can listen to music." Maria examined the radio curiously. "It looks very old. Is it valuable?" "I don't know, but maybe we can sell it. We need money for your medicines." Elena placed the radio on the living room table and plugged it in. She tried to turn it on, but no sound came. She played with the frequency dial, pressed different buttons. Nothing happened. "Seems broken," said her mother. But Elena didn't give up. She turned the radio over, looked underneath. Where the battery compartment was, she saw a small serial number. NATOCOMM 1987CLASSIFIED. Her heart raced. "NATO? Classified? What did this mean? She tried turning on the radio again. This time, she tried different button combinations. Suddenly, strange sounds began coming out. Not static, human voices, but not meaningful. Numbers, letters, codes. Delta 7 Charlie. NATO frequency. Authorization code 7-alpha-9... Elena froze. This was English, but very special English. Military terms, communication codes. She remembered her years working at the CIA. Yes, Elena had a secret past. From 1995 to 2010, she'd worked in the CIA Communications Division. Her code name was Silent Frequency. She'd participated in secret operations worldwide, worked jointly with NATO. In Russia, Afghanistan, Iraq, she'd provided communication security in the most dangerous regions. Her partner David had died in a Syria operation in 2010. Elena had resigned from the CIA that day, came to New York, and lived a secret life. Nobody knew her past. Now she examined the radio in her hands more carefully. This wasn't an ordinary antique. This was a NATO communication device, and it was still active. She listened to the voices coming from the radio. Bravo 6 to control. Mission compromised. Need immediate extraction. Coordinates 40.7-74.0. Elena's blood ran cold. Those coordinates were Manhattan, and this frequency was still being used, which meant just then someone knocked on the door. Elena looked through the peephole. An older man in a suit stood there. She didn't recognize him, but his posture was military. He looked serious and worried. "Who is it?" she asked. "Miss Martinez, I'm General Hayes. I want to talk about an item I left at the hotel." Elena's blood drained. The radio? This man was looking for it. But how had he found her address? "What item?" she asked without opening the door. "An old radio. Brown. Military model. It's a family heirloom. Very valuable." Elena didn't know what to do. Should she open the door? Give him the radio? But something stopped her. Those voices on the radio. NATO. Classified. Active frequency. "One moment," she said. She ran to the living room, took the radio, and hid it behind the closet in the bedroom. She opened the door. General Hayes was tall, authoritative in posture, blue-eyed, 65 to 70 years old, retired but still looked fit, but there was panic in his eyes. "Ms. Martinez, I'm General Robert Hayes. I used room 1547 last night. I left a very important item there." "What kind of item?" "A brown, old model, military-style radio. Very valuable to me. A family heirloom." Elena hesitated. "I didn't see anything like that, sir." The general's face changed. "Miss Martinez, please listen to me. That radio is vitally important to me. Really very important." "I really didn't see it, sir. Maybe it was in another room." The general stepped closer. "No, it was definitely in that room. Listen, ma'am, that radio, how can I put this? It's very sensitive from a security standpoint. If it falls into the wrong hands, there will be big problems." Elena understood something. This man was threatening her, but at the same time, he was genuinely worried. "Sir, if I had seen such a thing, I would have turned it into the hotel anyway. I'm an honest person." The general was getting increasingly agitated. "I must find that radio. If you have it, please give it to me. I'll pay money too." He pulled out $1,000 bills from his wallet. "I'll give you $5,000 for this radio. No questions asked." Elena's eyes moved to the money. $5,000 was 6 months of her mother's medication money, but she was also getting suspicious. Why was he offering so much money? "Sir, there really is no such radio. If there was, I would give it to you anyway." The general stepped closer. "Ms. Martinez, I'm speaking very seriously. That device contains information concerning national security. This is not a joke." Elena's CIA training kicked in. Was this man dangerous? Did he have a weapon? How many people came? Where were the exit routes? "I don't have it." Elena raised her voice. "And now I want you to leave." The general tried one more time. $10,000. My final offer. Give me that radio. I won't ask any questions. Elena's eyes changed. They became cold, sharp. The woman who had seemed frightened until that moment suddenly became someone different. Her posture straightened. Her voice became clear. "General Hayes," she said calmly. "NATO Communication Protocol 7 Delta Charlie. That radio contains an encryption key from 1987 European NATO operations. There are still active frequencies inside it." The general froze. His mouth fell open. Elena continued. "Active frequency 156.375 MHz. Authorization code Sierra 7 Alpha. It's a very dangerous device in the wrong hands. Who are you?" Elena straightened up. She was no longer a frightened cleaning lady, but a confident professional. CIA, communications specialist, Elena Rodriguez. My code name was Silent Frequency. I worked 15 years in NATO Black Ops communication systems. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria. I was in all of them. I retired in 2010. The general staggered backward in amazement. "You left that radio in safe hands, General." "Don't worry," Elena said. "But now, I'm asking, why is a retired Pentagon general using an active NATO frequency for personal use?" General Hayes sat in Elena's living room, his head buried in his hands. The truth was out, and he had nothing left to hide. "Rodriguez, yes, I remember. Silent Frequency. You were David Carter's partner in the Syria operation." Elena's face changed. "You knew David?" "Of course. I planned that operation. I'm very sorry about him." There was a long silence. "General, explain this radio business. Why are you using an active NATO frequency?" The general took a deep breath. "Rodriguez, that radio isn't just a radio. It contains map coordinates of NATO operations from the last 30 years, agent identity codes, safe house addresses, contact frequencies. If it falls into the wrong hands, how many agents would be in danger? At least 200 people. Worldwide." Elena's blood drained. This was a very serious situation. "So, General, why are you carrying this information? Pentagon retirees aren't given such authority." The general hesitated, then decided, "Because I'm not just a retired General, Rodriguez. I'm still on active duty. Deep cover." "What do you mean?" "For the last 5 years, we've been tracking a spy network in the Pentagon. Russia, China, Iran. They've all infiltrated our system. I'm also pretending to be retired to try to expose this network." Elena was surprised. "And that radio? Bait. Whoever tries to steal that radio, whoever comes after it, they're our spies." "So you were testing me?" "I was testing you, but you turned out to be CIA. That changed everything." Elena got up and went to the bedroom. She brought back the radio. "Take it, General. But know this, if 200 agents' lives are really in danger, this radio is in the wrong place. Why? Because I live here. My mother is here. If there are enemy agents after this information, they'll find me." The general thought. She was right. "Rodriguez, I'm going to make you an offer." "I'm listening. Help me with this operation. I need a communications specialist. Old skill set." Elena hesitated. "General, I'm retired. I left this business. I know, but the country needs you." Elena thought of her mother. Expensive medicines, treatment costs. How long would it take? 3 to 6 months, maybe less. Salary, $15,000 per month, plus full health insurance for your mother. Elena's eyes lit up. This money could save her mother's life. "I accept, General, but I have conditions." "I'm listening." "My mother's safety will be guaranteed. If there's danger, we'll move immediately." "Agreed. I won't be a field agent. Only communications and analysis." "Deal." "And I want to learn the truth about David's death." The general paused. "Rodriguez, some truths can't be learned. That's my condition." "Okay, I'll tell you." 3 weeks later, Elena's life had completely changed. She no longer worked at the Grand Plaza Hotel. She had a special office at the Pentagon with the title Communications Security Consultant. Her mother, Maria, was being treated at a private clinic. The best doctors, the most expensive medicines, everything was free. For the first time in 10 years, she saw a real smile on her mother's face. Elena's office was on the B2 floor of the Pentagon, secret section, the nameplate on her door. E. Rodriguez, Senior Communications Analyst. Entry required a special card. General Hayes had explained the real operation to her. A 3-year spy network investigation in the Pentagon. Suspicion that Russia and China had infiltrated NATO systems, and how valuable Elena's former CIA experience was in this operation. Rodriguez, the general had said, you worked worldwide for 15 years. You know system vulnerabilities. You recognize enemy tactics. You're the best expert at finding this network. Elena's first task was to examine old CIA files. All operations from 1995 to 2010. All partner countries. All communication protocols. What information might have been leaked? While working, she thought of David. General Hayes had told her the real details of the Syria operation. David's death wasn't an accident. It was deliberate sabotage. The first sign that there were spies on the inside. David died for you, Rodriguez, the general had said. He sacrificed himself to save you, and you're going to avenge him. Elena worked with this motivation. David's revenge, her mother's health, her country's security. It was all together. 2 months later, Elena made her first major discovery. The spy network in the Pentagon was much larger. Not just Russia and China, but Iran, North Korea, even some NATO allies had infiltrated their systems. General, she reported, this network is very deep. At least 50 people working inside, and their leaders are still on active duty. Do you have names? 3, but I need more time to prove it. How much? 2 months, the general thought. Rodriguez, this operation has become very dangerous. If they realize you're after them, I'll take the risk, General, for David's revenge. 6 months later, Elena's work was complete. All members of the Pentagon spy network had been identified. 47 people, 8 different countries, 15 years of operation. On Operation Day, Elena waited in the Pentagon's special security room. She watched the arrests on TV screens. 47 people were being captured simultaneously. Coordinated operation worldwide. General Hayes came to her side. Rodriguez, we did it. We brought down a 15-year spy network. Elena looked at David's photo with tears in her eyes. This is for you, David. Elena, said the general, I'm going to make you a new offer. Return to CIA, deputy director position, director of communications security. Elena thought, return to her old life. But now she was different. She had to think about her elderly mother. General, thank you, but no, I'll stay as a consultant. I want to spend more time with my mother. I understand, but my door is always open. 1 year later, Elena was living with her mother in a beautiful house in Virginia. She worked part-time as a consultant at the Pentagon, earning good money. Her mother, Maria, was now healthy, receiving the best treatment. On Saturday mornings, Elena would go grocery shopping with her mother. That day at the supermarket, she heard a familiar voice. Rodriguez, Elena Rodriguez. She turned around. It was her old CIA colleague, Susan Mitchell. Susan, how are you? I'm good. What are you doing? According to rumors, you conducted a major operation at the Pentagon. Elena smiled. Susan, you know, some things never change. Still mysterious Elena, always. As Susan left, Elena thought. A year ago, she was cleaning rooms at the Grand Plaza Hotel. Invisible, insignificant, a poor woman. Now she was a Pentagon consultant, someone protecting her country's security. Life sometimes offered the greatest opportunities at the most unexpected moments. If Elena hadn't found that old radio, hadn't met General Hayes, had continued hiding her past, her mother might have died. But now everything was different. Elena had emerged from the shadows, accepted her identity. Former CIA agent Silent Frequency had returned, and this time, permanently. Walking home, she talked with her mother. Mama, I want to tell you something. What, mija? You're very valuable to me, and I'll do anything to protect you. I know, Elena. You're my hero. Elena smiled. Was she a hero? Maybe, but most importantly, she was no longer hiding herself. Elena Rodriguez, former CIA agent, Pentagon consultant, loving daughter. This was her true identity. Sometimes the strongest people hide in the quietest corners, and when the right time comes, they emerge and change the world. Elena's story was like that. She remained invisible for 3 years. Then a radio completely changed her life. At Human Stories, we continue telling the tales of silent heroes. If you know someone like this, share in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, because we share stories inspired by real life every week.